NRG taking on Cringe Crew is how we're going to end our Saturday today. An excellent set to follow up an excellent set, which followed up an excellent set where we started off the day with a fantastic set.
And now it's going to be NRG versus Cringe Crew. Cringe Crew, different team, I want to say. Obviously, Zyrhoes the only real change to this. They had Zashu last split. It actually was Axios for the most of that split due to the ban that Zashu got. Then they replaced it with Zyrhoes after Fnatic basically debunked between themselves there and all split apart. So Zyrhoes joins his roster, but since doing that, they're not doing as well as everyone expected.
Sure, yesterday they looked okay, but keep in mind they had Flurry Q, not their normal support EmilZy. Now they'll have EmilZy right on top there to fix everything.
I mean, that was against Fantastic as well, though. That's the big talking point. That was against Fantastic. I mean, having a member of your team being missing, very, very big impact on him. We've seen it multiple times, even on the side of Enemy and NA, having issues with that Trick Tank as well, being missing for Paradigm, had issues for them when they had to bring on Callus. But missing just one player against a team like Fantastic, who are newer, you should have had a little bit more establishment there. It just shows the strength of Fantastic, I guess, that you can't look over anybody.
Exactly. I mean, just one player. Sort of one player stepping in or stepping out can really change the whole dynamic of a team. So was it all about EmilZy's individual performance? Absolutely not. It's about Cringe Crew as a unit. How does Zyrhoes fit in with the unit? And that's what we're going to see today. NRG, they've got a new sponsor, but certainly the same old gusto that they've always had. You like that word?
Is it gusto?
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 Yeah.
Me gusta.
Me gusto.
The gusto.
Me gusto.
No.
Me gusta?
Almost.
Me gusto?
They've got the first pick.
It's whatever. The best thing is, though, what I saw from yesterday from NRG was the stomp of Sanguine.
Yes.
Like, that was no hesitation in just chopping down that tree as quick as possible. This time around, though, NRG, once again, going to be first pick against Cringe Crew. I'm expecting the same sort of bans we always see.
I mean, Guan, Susano, don't want that. The fall of Fafnir, don't want that.
Well, that's the interesting one now, because if Nemesis gets banned, and it's like, well, what's available? Because anything's kind of on the table once again. They're the main four that we see focused on. Freya started to creep around the area of being picked up if these are all banned out, but it's not a first pick option.
Jungle.
Jungle?
Jungle. NRG took a step away. They took a step away from the adapting-centric play, and, oh, man. You only get one shot. Right? So like, usually when you're looking at these picks and bans, you have two things that you expect to see, but when you're here, you only get the chance to say one. So I was going to go, they've taken a step away from the adapting-centric play for a while and started focusing on Yammyn. And they gave him the early, whether it was Chiron or the Raijins, they were giving Yammyn the picks for a long time. And then the past couple of games, adapting has stepped to the forefront. So my two thought processes were either Raijin or the Thor. It's the Raijin selection here. Cringe Crew going to answer with the Sobek.
It's funny how things have changed in the mid lane too. The Raijin not fallen out of favor, but a little bit further down, now starting to climb again. But Vulcan is the only other one that we really see in the mid lane. We don't really see as many Januses anymore over in that lane whatsoever, and we start to see more and more options being brought forward, including the Hunters.
But for Yammyn, more the Raijin than the Vulcan. In all honesty, I think a lot of the mages, they are. It's interesting. The mages might be a chapter ahead of the meta book, but Yammyn's aware and he's just reading the old stuff. While everybody was picking Raijin, he was on the Chiron. Everybody's on the Vulcan, he's on the Raijin.
Well, it's an interesting stuff from Cringe Crew here, going Freya and Sobek early on in this draft. Those two together in the duo lane, they don't have great push power, but they do have kill potential. Freya can set up a banish into a block from Sobek if they so choose, which could really set them up for some kills there in that lane. But it depends what we see coming out of NRG, and that Chronos kind of instigates me to be saying the Chronos is there.
Exactly, and there's the follow-up selection for adapting on the Thor. Raijin-Thor combo certainly going to be electrifying this game, no pun intended. And into our next set of bans, Bacchus, no Fat Man.
See what we see coming out from Zyrhoes in the solo lane this time around as well, because obviously he's gone to tier quite a few times so far. So a little bit of a cheeky Afro pickup at the start of the split as well, but didn't really work out for them then either. Focus onto the supports of iRaffer here. Ares and Bacchus, two of his two predominant ones there. He's got a few others in his god pool these days though, so he can look elsewhere.
Wheelish going to be banned out by the guys on NRG, as well as Hunbat, so focusing on the jungle position for Cringe Crew specifically.
Maybe a Geb coming out from iRaffer this game, I expect, with how these picks and bans are going as well. Doesn't really favor Athena, and we don't see Athena too much these days in terms of overall picks, but I expect a Geb.
A Geb?
Yeah, I think we'll see a Geb more than likely come out here.
I won't disagree.
Or Guan Yu. I mean, Guan Yu's another option for them. A bit more physical damage, especially with a Chronos and a Raijin already locked in.
That's what I'm thinking.
You do need a little bit more physical on your side for at least pressure on the map.
Guan Yu and Odin would be a wonderful 1-2 punch for NRG to round out this composition, not only allowing Raijin to deal more damage, but protecting the Guan Yu. Instead of the Odin, it'll be the Amaterasu selection. So Cringe Crew do have Odin on the board if they want to shut down the Guan Yu.
I'm not sure if I want to see Zyrhoes playing Odin, though. It's not something I really like class as his sort of god overall.
It's a new role.
He could pick it up, and it will shut down a few of these gods inside, but not too many of them. Obviously, he's going to allow Amaterasu just to free farm that lane in the left in the solo lane, as long as Dimi knows how to play negative matchups. And guess what? That's what Dimi does for a living.
That's what I was Are you questioning Mr. Dimi?
That's what he does. Like, that's what kind of NRG have just allowed Dimi to become this guy that goes into a negative match every game for the good of the team. He never really gets to pick for himself in terms of getting a good counter pick option or anything like that. He's always there for the good of the team. And if that means he gets soloed in lane by people like Baskin, as long as the team win, it doesn't matter.
Ravana will be the god that Amaterasu is going head-to-head against here on our NRG versus Cringe Crew matchup. And like you said, it'll be the Zyrhoes on the Ravana. Makes a little bit more sense as far as Zyrhoes is concerned, in my mind.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more aggressive. Well, I mean, not more aggressive than an Odin per se, but just the way he delivers his aggression. It's more sustained. It's more constant. It's more annoying.
I think the secret pick so far of the SPL is Ratatoskr. He's started to be played more and more, and he's slowly been slipping through and picked up, and he's been winning games as well, which is the other thing to add to this. Making an impact in the games and being cruising under the radar right now. I don't think he's going to stay there too much longer with how people are starting to pick him up and play him on and on as games continue, because he's got a lot of an impact still in the game, especially with all the changes being made.
Well, he does a really good job at following Thor around. Very few characters can really match Thor when it comes to his semi-global prowess. And Repikas, you know, if you spot out adapting in the jungle, winding up the ultimate and then go into the sky, same thing. Ratatoskr can follow up suit, counter gank, and really do that, or vice versa. Both of these junglers are going to look to really be the one making the first step. And whoever makes that first gank, the enemy jungler is going to be following up suit.
Well, you're looking at Thor for sure, adapting on his pretty much one of his most legendary gods so far. He's got Fenrir alongside it as well as a big two for him. But adapting to Thor is fantastic. And that's the question really asked to Repikas this game again, because Repikas for me, very hit or miss. He either goes off like a train, or the other option is he's just still stuck in the station.
Yeah, you know, I agree. It's very, very, very hot and cold. Repikas can really find both sides.
And that's kind of what Cringe Crew, you know, that's one of the Cringe Crew's things this game is like, if Repikas doesn't get going, they need other people to step up to the bat, so
which is why they bring Zyrhoes in.
And hopefully Zyrhoes can start to find that synergy with the rest of the team. Whether or not it's a synergistic issue with the squad or not is a different story. Obviously, the performances just lately have been quite troublesome for the boys.
Here's that losing matchup we were talking about. Dimi certainly not going to be on top anytime soon, looking more towards level 9.
Well, we did see Dubson stick around for a little bit there just to make sure he farmed a little bit of the wave and put some pressure on. Made sure Zyrhoes had to be pushed back for a moment or two. So Dimi should be able to approach level 4 with ease before he starts to have to deal with the Ravana punches to his face.
Meanwhile, left side of the match, our dual lane matchup here, we've got emilitoo next to the iRaffer Guan Yu, a long-time combination of the Chronos Guan.
Very farm-orientated dual lane from both these two teams here. Both of these carries are mages. They both want to just farm up, get their items online. Generally, with mages, it's all about getting levels more than anything else. Get your abilities up and the flat rate first of all, and then add the items to it. Unlike hunters, where the hunter position, you want the items more than anything else to really increase your power of your in-hands.
With that in mind, if these supports actually do leave the lane, Hindu, the Chronos, in my mind, generally has the upper hand when it comes to taking the fight versus the Freya, able to stun Freya out during an important moment, and then, of course, having the rewind available as well.
You saw the Bluestone Pendant online for iRaffer there at the start. This is just for extra push power in the lane more than anything else. It's not really going to help him out in the long run here. The Tele Assault will shred the protections, and the dot damage refreshes every time on the target. So it just helps to bring down the wave a little bit more, which is one thing they want against a Sobek and a Freya as well, is to make sure they have lane dominance. You don't want to be pinned under your tower against a Sobek Freya, because one pluck could spell disaster.
A little out of the ordinary, though, for iRaffer. His routine start is boots with the Watcher's Gift, and then the follow-up item choice of the Mark of the Vanguard. So going Bluestone, very different. Even on this Guan Yu, we've seen that same boots, Watcher's Vanguard. So different little shake-up here for iRaffer in a new meta, or on a new patch.
Well, he's got to play a little bit careful as well, because he's a little bit squishier as well at the start of the game. And obviously, even you said, like, and if iRaffer fought himself, he'd probably kill him. He'll be the first one to die overall in the engagement. Well, at the moment, with a Bluestone, you're a little bit squishier early on, not going to have as survivability as a Watcher's Gift will give you, which gives you a little bit more health. Exactly,
so going to have to be careful about that. Standard grouping up here for the speed buff, as NRG just allowing adapting to hit level 5. Now both of our jungles have the ultimates available.
A little bit behind Adaption on the levels right now, but speed buffer is down for Repikas here, so he should even things up with the level 6 here in terms of that. But at the moment, it was a small opportunity there where NRG were a little bit behind in experience. Repikas, though, at level 6 and going to swing around the back. Aggressive onto 2 of them. There's
a nice stun onto Adapting, setting Adapting on the other side. Not going to find a follow-up stun, however. And Cringe Crew, just a little bit of a poke.
I want to see Repikas keep doing that, though. Just go to a lane, poke him out a little bit, see look for a response as well. Because if a response does come, they still have Kero in the mid lane on this Janus that could make a very late rotation with the ultimate that could either find a kill with a snipe or just set up for A, an escape route, or B, a further engage from him coming through himself.
Yeah, 3 players coming in from the mid lane on the other side. Certainly something to watch out for. EmilZy stunned in his first game back since yesterday.
Yeah, unavailable. Oh, space and time fight very early, though, and Repikas going to go through. Immediately, Adapting took up to the sky.
Yeah, unsure of what was going on, takes to the sky, gives himself a moment to breathe.
Apologies, I think it was onto Yammyn, he just jumped away. I thought it was to the sky there, because I was like, where did he just disappear to? Nope, he just jumped away to the hammer.
The Thunder Crash makes Raijin look like he's jumping.
Yes, that's what happened to me. I'm an idiot. It's okay. It's early in the game. I'll get better, I promise. Promise.
Can I blame you?
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
You're cool, it's fine.
I'm not gonna do that.
I make mistakes, we all do.
I'm not gonna blame.
Fire Elementals go the way of Cringe Crew again, so just keeping control a little bit of this pace of the game. They're up about 600 gold so far, which isn't too bad, considering they are against the world champions. And still world champions after a lot of DreamHack as well. You know, even if they lost that, they would have been world champs, but would have shown signs from other teams to really be showing how much they've come forward.
A little bit. Great setup in the mid lane. Trouble for iRaffer. And he's going to be the first blood here. Repikas taken down.
I mean, mentioned about the health. He did have to pick up Watch's Gift as a second starter item. That's interesting to me. He wants the extra gold generation. That's where the gold is coming from, is that Watch's Gift difference between the two. It's only like 200 right now, but that would have continued. Now, we mentioned squishiness, and that's exactly what he was in the early stages there of the game.
Watcher's Gift is an item that you really want to start the game off with, Hinderman. I think that maybe the thought process was, hey, if I go Bluestone, we could be aggressive. Maybe I don't need the extra gold. As soon as iRaffer falls, he picks up the Watcher's Gift. I think if he had a chance to redo this scenario, he buys Watchers first and Bluestone second.
Well, the best news is EmilZy comes back to the squad after that last performance where he wasn't available for them. And what did he do? Immediately set up first blood against NRG. Now, Cringe Crew last split did pick up 1 game against NRG as well. So they have taken a game off them before, so they've got some sort of confidence about how to deal with them.
And I think this is a better lineup for Cringe Crew versus last year.
Yeah, I mean, overall, obviously, Axios stepped in there. He had a good performance, Axios, as a whole.
Sure.
But if Cringe Crew continue with what they learned last year up against NRG, they do have an opportunity here. Talk about opportunity, right inside.
Adapting going to land right behind Zyrhoes and avoids the stun as well. Hot plays.
Good attempt from Adapting just to put pressure on and find something on Zyrhoes there, because Zyrhoes was starting to bully Dimi a little bit under the tower, as you'd expect at this stage. However, level 9 is now online for him as well, for Dimi, so he's going to start being able to weather the storm a lot easier here and just farm up against this Rav.
Zyrhoes just... I like him as a solo laner a little bit more than a mid laner, to be honest with you. I like his solo lane mentality, his jungle mentality, a little bit of ego, a little bit of flair for the dramatic, but certainly just looking to be the playmaker. In mid lane, when he played for Fnatic, struggled, didn't struggle, obviously he was one of the better mid laners, but I think he struggled really finding that identity for himself. He was always in tandem, obviously, with his jungler. Here in the solo lane, he can really just be Zyrhoes and apply that to his team.
It was a very farm-oriented game from both these two so far in it. For 7 minutes in, having people at level 10 in the game, you're well over a level a minute, which is kind of your average of what you're looking for a solo laner or a hunter if you're lucky. But this game, you can just see it's all focused on getting the farm from both teams.
emilitoo made the rotation, and he's been here long enough that if he rewinds, he's still right here in the problem spot. Damage coming out from everybody. Rats in the sky, looking to find a knock-up target. emilitoo doesn't have his ultimate available anymore, so he's got to play it super safe and walk all the way back to the back Harpies. Cringe Crew land in the mid.
A lot of respect from Repikas there. You saw him use the ultimate, and iRaffer was a prime potential target for him, but the respect for a potential counter-engage and him getting picked up in response was there, so he wisely just backs away and goes, okay, we'll just let the fight end. No one ends up getting picked up. Everybody just goes back to farm.
Still just one on the board as we're approaching minute number 8. NRG have yet to really find a kill, and because of that, they've been really struggling to find a foot spot. Almost 2,000 gold in the lead for Cringe Crew.
They're doing a very good job of finding this farm, Cringe Crew, and developing this lead across the map. I mean, some of the gold lead is on the Watcher's Gift. I want to mention that again. It's only 200, but that is 200 off those graphs immediately, just because the Watcher's Gift start giving that extra gold.
No gold Furies, No team fights, just a single kill. Obviously no Fire Giant just yet. No real invades either, and yet such a large lead from Cringe Crew.
Well, the Fire Elementals have been constantly farmed by Cringe Crew, and they're being done right now as well by Zyrhoes and Repikas, and they're doing a good job of splitting the experiences, but the other thing as well, make sure they share as much as possible, and actually just exploiting this small opportunity they've got against NRG early on.
Dimi now making a rotation over here, looking for the Fire Elementals that are no longer there, and instead will group up with his jungler. Repikas, on the other hand, looking for the teammates. He'll group up in the mid.
A little bit slow to start from NRG this game, though. I mean, seeing adapting, gank the right hand lane, and not really find anything. A bit surprising to see him miss some abilities there. And obviously, over in the mid lane, we've not really seen the signs of the old NRG where they group together, and adapting is pressured. They're forced to purify early.
Nice stun during the Berserker's Barrage. Yammyn trying to find the damage through the wall, 3 to 4. And the follow-up from adapting might come, but instead focused on the team fight. iRaffer able to take down EmilZy with a quick dash. And down comes adapting. NRG answers back and finds a kill.
Like the ultimate coming out from Kero there, he found it to the right-hand side away from the danger zone, and he was mainly looking for escape routes for his team. Unfortunately, EmilZy could not get to one in time with the burst that came out, so NRG answer back very quickly, as you'd expect them to do, to be in 1 kill down. Left-hand side, though, pressure again.
There, here from behind on Shaggyshenk is iRaffer. No real options for the Mage Hunter.
Great poke. Remember, every single time he does that Tele Assault, it restarts the Bluestone Pendant tick. So he's getting the poke off from that, then dashes through, redoes the Bluestone Pendant proc again, and it continues to chip away at him.
And of course, the Protection Shred out of the Talo Assault, very, very classic side bonus of that ability.
Interesting game, though, overall, just with how the pace has gone. Just continues to farm again. It's just been one pick. Nothing really came off it for either team either. There was no objective to really look for after that. So it's just 2 straight-up kills and the first blood coming into play for Cringe Crew.
So NRG here in our fall split, certainly a little bit more revitalized looking towards Worlds in January. They've got a couple of different things on their mind, and I think you mentioned it earlier on that, or the other day, where our NRG seemed to be a little bit different than the last time around in the spring split.
I think it's not. It's really weird because I always say the way they look at NRG every single time is like a car. They're always sat in second gear for the most part. Nobody really pushes them up past second gear. If they get behind, maybe they'll hit third. However, there's only 1 or 2 teams ever that have really seen them hit 5th gear with, and the last real time I've seen 5th gear, I want to say, is against Cloud9 at Worlds.
Sure.
They've not been pressured that heavily since then.
Do you think that's a problem, though, just keeping the foot off the gas? Because in one way, it's sort of glass half full, glass half empty. On the one hand, sure, they're keeping their strategies in reserve and they're not showing everything.
You say that, right? But I just said they were in second gear as we watched this little skirmish in the jungle, and I think Raph is in a lot of trouble, actually.
Here's the response from the rotation out of the Hunter, and there's Cringe Crew as well. Ultimate out of the Janus, and EmilZy able to put down iRaffer. Good hit from the jungler, but Dimi's rotation proves fruitful and takes out Shaggyshenk.
Yammyn's gonna die too. Repikas did a great job there. Zyrhoes' rotations, keeping the others busy. Dimi slowed down these thresholds, are making an impact from Janus too. Zyrhoes falls down as a casualty though. 2-for-2 trade. It is a Hunter and a solo laner for a mid and a support.
Yeah, I like that play. I don't think Zyrhoes was supposed to. Obviously, nobody's supposed to die, but I don't think Zyrhoes was supposed to die in that engagement. I think he kind of just like got caught up in the moment, and because of that, NRG able to take out the gold.
Well, Kero knows what's going on. You saw adapting wall him off, trying to stop it. He's trying to force a reset from them. They've not reset it now, and with Unstable Vortex being used, immediately you're going to lose the Gold Fury because he's got no follow-up damage, does he, Janus?
But here comes Cringe Crew trying to keep Dimi. The ultimate will provide safety
like
for
what
the
Dimi
solo
did there.
laner.
You know the ultimate that he did? The third hit, you have to hit all 3 to get the stun off. The very first hit, he turns and faces them for the hit, turns around 180s, realizes they're not going to continue coming, so then just ults away. If they would continue to come in, he'd keep 180 back to hit them with it to make sure he got the stun. Very well played.
No reason to slow him down. Small things. I'm a pure. I like that stuff too, Hindu.
We all do.
We all do.
We all do. 3-3 though.
Making the small
Gold
plays.
Fury goes the way of NRG, but if you actually look at the stats and the gold difference, it's still in Cringe Crew's favor. That is very interesting to me, how the fact that they still have a gold lead here, Cringe Crew, after losing that Gold Fury. And honestly, that fight was even.
Well, that's what I was saying. Early in the game, they just amassed this 2,000 gold lead pretty much off of a lonely first blood.
It seems more than anything, it was just elemental control, a fire elemental control followed by mid-harpy control is the big one. Back in Season 1, when it was just mid-harpies, they were always fought over at 3 minutes, at 6 minutes, at 9 minutes, and every single time you see both teams group up because they were so vital for getting a lead in the game.
Yeah, it was the absolute, you had to use all your abilities, all your ultimates. You didn't really see fights in between those, which is why things ultimately did get switched. Well, look at this play by NRG. I thought they were going to play sneaky, but instead, adapting lets everybody know that they're here, and they just take out those harpies.
Really surprised they didn't just let them walk around the corner there and take the fight potentially on the people who were blind to the potential of them being there. Although, maybe no wall coverage on the right-hand side for themselves with sentries may have given the game away that they could be getting trapped themselves, so why not just poke out and take them?
It's possible. Left side going to be the fight. Repikas lands down, adapting goes up. Down goes iRaffer, and adapting is safe and sound, but he gets chased out. Yammyn in some trouble as well, and Cringe Crew getting the better of energy in this team fight.
Once again, I mean, they forced iRaffer back to base in terms of death. Yammyn forced back to mid lane, zoned away from emilZy. The two carries on the side of Cringe Crew as well help peel for each other against emilitoo, and now force his rewind as well. Good little skirmish from Cringe Crew.
Adapting teleports right back in to prevent Cringe Crew from pushing up on that mid lane tower too much, so keep in mind that Thor will have the global presence of the teleport.
Look where the kills are in Cringe Crew here. They're on Repikas, and we said that at the start of the broadcast. Repikas has on and off games. This looks like he's going to be an on-one on this Ratatoskr as well. Void Shield already completed and Jotun's. He's got a little bit of a lead over adapting because of these kills as well now.
And that's really, like I said, one of these junglers is going to set the pace of the game. One of these junglers is going to say, this is where we're fighting, folks, and it's been Repikas. Right side, adapting tosses a wall and tosses a hammer. Left side, Repikas ults and starts a fight, and NRG just can't compete.
Now, Repi's doing a good job, but the other person on this team that's also playing very well is the Kero on the Janus so far. He's not got a kill in this game, but what he is doing is providing that much-needed support for the team with these portals and thresholds. It's standard Janus play, I say, but at the same time, some Januses don't play it that way, and when it doesn't get played that way, it can come back to haunt you.
Right, there's a lot of wiggle room when it comes to how you want to play your Janus, and right from the get-go, we see the Pythagorum's piece. Kero is thinking of playing with his teammates in mind. He's going to provide portals. I would not be surprised to see some additional CDR a little bit later in this build. He's going to provide portals and utility for his team, and obviously bringing out the aura as well with respect to the Pythagorum's piece.
So this is the danger zone now for Cringe Crew. NRG, as usual, approaching the 15-16 minute mark, will look for an engagement with the power spike. Gold Fury is going to be up about the same sort of time, I want to say, as when we will see the next fight. Everybody above level 12, though, is a very interesting mark to note at this stage of the game, though. Means every relic is already in the game. It's something that generally doesn't happen by this stage normally.
And this is a good play by Cringe. I thought they were going to push up mid. That was so. Look at the itemization out of NRG. You've got a bunch of almost finished items. NRG's going to farm up, finish those items, and then push forward like we said. Cringe Crew, if they make a play now onto the tower, or make a play really anywhere, they catch NRG before NRG want to really take the fight.
Well, Adept in the moment is a little bit behind in terms of experience to Repikas, and some of that is actually down to iRaffer's deaths, because at the moment what they're doing is they're holding waves for iRaffer to make sure he stays even with the support role and stays even on experience. But as a juxtapose there, Adapting is the one that's being punished for that one, as Repikas is getting the small lead over him.
Something I want to bring to note here as we watch our teams potentially fight over these Red Harpies, just going to throw some abilities, is the build out of Shaggyshenk. We've seen Freya's all day, and have really focused on the Witchblade build, right, the Bancroft Talon, maybe even the lifesteal out of Pythagorum's piece. Shaggy will go a very, very different direction here. He's got the Fatalis, which is pretty much standard on Freya, but boots into Spear of the Magus.
Now, Spear is a good item overall. We've seen a lot less of it, as it did take a couple of nerfs to it where we saw the rise of other things, but Spear of the Magus now, 50 magical power and 15 penetration. Nothing to just ignore completely, as well as that passive, which will allow other teammates to deal additional damage as well.
And that's the key. There's a lot of numbers, and it gets really mathy when you start delving into the world of power versus penetration, and plus Freya, when you take attack speed into account. But really the point that you want to drive home here is that Freya's Spear is going to help her teammates, and the ultimate, not just the basic attacks that we see out of the Witchblades and the Demonic Grip builds.
And it's funny, it's only 10 power increase overall. That's the only thing that really changed to Spear of the Magus here. It had an additional 10 power added onto this one, just to try and even it up with the other penetration item options.
And there's the crowd. There's a CDR coming out. I always say crowd control immunity. There's the cooldown reduction onto Janus as he finishes up the Chronos pendant. Many portals coming out from the mid lane. Expect a lot of utility out of Kero.
Talk about utility. Void Shield on the side of Dimi here as well, just for a little bit for the team fight opportunity here. And now pressure onto Zyrhoes once more. They're just trying to force a couple of things on this right-hand side, because at the same time, though, Cringe Crew are going to look for the Gold Fury at the same time.
Yammyn shows up, and that's a little bit scary. iRaffer is going to come around the back, but Yammyn chased out.
And now Raffer's on his own here with the ultimate already being used. Adapting has turned up though and has his emilitoo. Raffer's still being focused, but they're looking to force Kero out.
Dimi makes rotation as well. Ratatoskr in the sky, knocks up Raffer, puts him down. Here comes the rest of NRG as Cringe Crew trying to keep them at bay, adapting full HP. Cringe Crew certainly not the case. Zyrhoes in trouble, Shaggy in trouble. Down he goes. Zyrhoes, one more shot will do it, but Dimi can't find it. Dimi can't find it at all, and Zyrhoes lives to see another day.
1-for-1 trade. I say that. Adapting goes in very deep for that pick. Repikas looking for the stun, not going to find it. And now he's going to get turned on himself. Dash on by Dimi, but no follow-up damage available. Out of mana there.
Just barely able to escape, just like his solo later. Repikas follows suit, and everybody from NRG goes ahead and backs. You can see a little bit of a lead.
Janus. Janus was the only reason to back there. Kero got out. He got back to base. They also had Zyrhoes coming back. I don't think they knew if his teleport was used or not in that engagement either. Let's just head back to base. We'll take the small win in the fight.
And there's your power spike out of NRG. You saw they fought pretty much before they really wanted to. That was up to Cringe Crew. And then NRG, after they just backed, they're able to finish Thoth, Jotun's Wrath. These are the big items that NRG are going to look to spin this game. Still about tie game, but Cringe Crew with a little bit of the technical gold lead. This is where NRG are going to look to make a big play to surge forward.
And it was a standard play coming out from NRG as well. Raffer goes in on his own pretty much as per usual. You're like, why is Raffer so far? Oh, the whole team turns up just before he falls down. Ends up surviving a little bit longer, as you generally say about Raffer, but EmilZy with the pluck able to find him. And once again, NRG turn their attention to the solo lane tower.
Zyrhoes going to dance around a little bit. He'll be safe, but his tower certainly won't. And that's a really big part of the play that we just saw over there. Cringe Crew try to capitalize on the fact that the jungle makes the rotation over to the solo lane. 2 players on the right side of the map. Guys, let's go for the Gold Fury. Look what relics are that adapting and Dimi can make the teleport. Yep. It's not that big a deal to see the jungle on the right side of the map.
And that's why adapting went over there, because he had the teleport.
Exactly.
In this game. He knew he could apply pressure one side of the map and then force an issue elsewhere as well. They made Cringe Crew go to that Gold Fury, and they knew they were going to go for it. But at the same time, even if the things don't go well at the Gold Fury, as long as it stays standing, they can still look at the Tier 1 tower again next time round.
Precisely. And that's exactly what go down. NRG playing the game that they drafted before they even came into it. The battle plan's certainly working out.
Shaggyshenk's build is very interesting to me here. Obviously with Fatalis and the Witchblade and a Spear of the Magus is an interesting composition of things. Lacking a little bit of power for my liking is my only concern with this build right now so far.
I don't mind power, or I don't mind lack of power on Freya.
I do.
She scales much better with the attack speed.
I mean, the attack speed helps out, but if you want to swing for 2 hits and kill someone, or you want to swing for 4 hits faster and kill someone, I'd rather only swing for 2.
Well, it depends, because since Pulse and Irradiate are time-based steroids, you're going to get more out of the attack speed, because it's about pummeling the amount of gumballs in that short amount of time.
Completely agree. At the same time, though, you've got to also look at the fact that against opposition like NRG, they will shut down that pulse as quick as they can.
Sure.
So if you're going to get shut down in terms of your pulse, that duration is actually going to be 1.5 seconds. So maybe that 1 pulse or 1.5 pulses you get off does a considerable amount of damage versus meh.
Yeah, Shaggy's really going to have to play his positioning correctly. If he's able to find the flanks, Shaggyshenk is going to just destroy anybody that doesn't have a lot of protections on the side of NRG. But like you said, NRG definitely going to pay a lot of attention to that Freya. So level 18 at the moment, Shaggyshenk has to have eyes not just on the front and back of his head, but all around.
Well, now that Tier 1 tower's gone down on the right-hand side, NRG have got a bit of an issue here, because they were the ones pressuring the Tier 1, trying to force this Gold Fury fight for their favor. They won the fight off it as well on the Tier 1 tower, but they don't get the Gold Fury. So if they want the Gold Fury again, they've got to try and force something different this time round. And, well, hopefully Cringe Crew just started up so they could do that anyway.
Yeah, Cringe Crew going to look around here pretty much just for the vision more than the actual fight, and Raffer will see that. And Yammyn does have a clear ward available.
He's not the best person you really want walking forward, though. He's got ranged attacks to be able to hit him from range, but dropping the ward is always a dangerous factor there. Dimi rotate from the right-hand side here to mid, allows Zyrhoes a bit more free farm on that side, but the wave was already cleared, so we can't really look for the tower here.
Yeah, Raffer and Yammyn, we're thinking about making a play.
So Cringe Crew trying to make a play on the left-hand side here. They expect no speed buffs about to come up, and they know Dimi's on that side of the map. So maybe look at this Gold Fury attempt is one option for them, but as usual, the 3 synergy on that left-hand side between Raffer, emilitoo, and Yammyn will cover the option.
Cringe Crew going to start it up. Gold Fury already brought down to 75% HP. Raffer half, Yammyn over the wall looking for something. Cringe Crew released the Gold Fury. Now they're involved in the fight. Ultimate out of EmilZy to zone out whoever shows up. And it's going to be 3 players and nobody gets hit by the ultimate, but Raffer now doing his best to zone out the opposition. 2 players get hit by Kero.
That's not a really good play coming out from Cringe Crew, I want to say, because they used a little bit too much more than NRG did. Also, the shell was used there as well by Cringe Crew. So that's 3 things down so far. However, emilitoo felt himself a little bit too much. He needs support, and he needs it now.
Trying to find the ultimate, but can't even find safety. Just barely gets out, knowing if he hits rewind, he winds up in the enemy clutches, just walks away. Double lift coming out of Shaggyshenk, and now looking for the kill onto iRaffer. Up in the sky is the rat. He's going to land on the backside, but Yammyn just piling damage through.
emilitoo very low at the backside, as is iRaffer as well. Thor is in the sky looking to try and help out his team. This will be a defensive ult, if anything, and he goes straight in onto the front.
Tries to dance and gets the kill onto emilitoo, and now continuing down on the mid lane is Cringe Crew. Adapting found a nice turnaround kill, but Cringe Crew undeterred. They're still here, Hindu. They're still looking for the fight.
Dimi's coming back though with teleport, and immediately Cringe Crew will back away, knowing that the full health solo laner is back in the action. Cringe Crew though going to swing around into the jungle here, and Dimi might be able to find one. If you notice Repi's dash was down, he'd be in there like a shot.
Instead, he's looking for the rat. Can't find it. There's Adapting, who certainly will. Kero gets shut down, and there's that attack speed coming out of the Freya. Shaggyshenk putting down Adapting. Dimi playing defense, doesn't want his low health mid or support being caught out.
Yeah, NRG couldn't go any more aggressive there, because as soon as Yammyn goes in with that Thunder Crash, you saw how low his health was. He's like, I'm only using this with the CC, and then I'm dipping straight away. Tries to support his boy. Adapting goes for the trade with Kero. Yeah, okay, it's a trade. It's nothing more than that one.
Sure.
He could have potentially got out, but unfortunately, the damage coming out from Shaggyshenk is starting to really swing home.
Exactly. That Freya really coming into the late game right here. Almost level 20, as you can see. The Freya now finally, there's that power. Looking for that Bancroft. Also the lifesteal. Important.
That fight actually puts Cringe Crew back in the lead in terms of golden experience there. And that kind of comes back to emilitoo getting picked off in the jungle at the start of that, forced to use Purification and Sanctuary, run back towards his team, and then his team basically have to take a fight where emilitoo's in a rough situation. Raph caught out though.
There's the ultimate use, chased out by Cringe Crew. Cringe Crew, they seem to have the wind in their sails here, Hindu man, starting up the Gold Fury.
Best performance I've seen him so far this year, but emilitoo's in a bit of trouble here, going to get poked quite heavily, but it is going to be okay for him for the timing. They're still doing the Gold Fury though, and Yammyn's back.
Still low, Gold Fury finally leashed out. Dimi here as well as emilitoo. Not going to be finding anything but Ratatoskr looking for an initiation.
But who's he going to be onto is the question here. I don't think he's space and time. Emil does not get hit by that. Instead though, they look for a bit more pressure onto Yammyn.
Right side, Dimi in trouble. iRaffer and Yammyn here as well. Cringe Crew backing off as a team.
And that's all they need to do is back off. I say that, but Adapting going to come in with the ultimate, looking for Shaggyshenk. Drums through the wall from Yammyn, but Shaggy uses his ultimate to buy him a second. Dimi on him like...
As soon as he lands, trouble for him. emilitoo puts number 8 on the board. emilitoo in the ground, finding the pop-up. Zyrhoes finds the kill. Trouble for everyone else as Dimi's looking right at EmilZy and takes him down. But Kero answers back. Dimi gets shut down. 2 dead for Cringe Crew, 2 dead for NRG, and it's the 3-on-3
These
right here in the jungle.
Even. Don't forget the Frostbound Ham on the side of Zyrhoes. He goes back to peel for Kero as well. No one Adapting's coming in. Repi's back in it as well. Unstable Vortex off it comes in. Sanctuary on Repikas.
iRaffer's so low, he's just barely alive. Sanctuary saves him, but Zyrhoes puts him down in the ground. Here comes Adapting, the spin around as well. Solo laner barely alive. Zyrhoes trying to find a way out, and he just might, but with no ultimate. The kick is just secondary. And number 10 for NRG.
Now, so you're all off through space and time? No, that could have been fun. Although they're back very quick here, so they could actually look to clean them up if NRG overstay their welcome and don't recognize it. Crashing down, unstable Vortex, but a good Purification will keep emilitoo alive for now.
They're still diving the tower. Graham still going after it. Kero gets chunked down by Chronos, but Repikas and Kero really playing it aggressively.
So you actually saw Zyrhoes there immediately just know he was going to get the kill on iRaffer, and he was going to be a sacrificial lamb for his team. The other two immediately, Repi and Kero both went out, and I can imagine Zyrhoes just screaming on comms, leave me, I'm going to die, but you guys get back to base and get full health so you can make sure they don't get control around that area of the map or go for the Gold Fury.
Exactly. That's what the key was there for Kero using the ultimate. If they get the kill, that's icing on the cake. The real goal from Cringe Crew was there to just respond and get back into the area so that NRG can't take a very weak Gold Fury.
This is anyone's game right now between the two of them. You've got to favour NRG as time goes on, especially after the performances Cringe Crew put on. But Cringe Crew here really holding up. Repikas 4, 0, and 5 involved in every single one of these kills on Ratatoskr.
You know, even going back to last year, Hindu Man, Cringe Crew was able to find some surprise kills or surprise wins against some of the top-tier teams.
We're already at the point where experience nearly enough doesn't matter as well after. That's a crazy thing. But one moment of impatience from Cringe Crew.
Can emilZy do this?
No.
Kero can!
What?
From a distance, he can do it, and he will! He gets the steal on the gold!
Do not believe he managed to do that one, and now NRG, well, they've got to lip out with the tail between the legs, but I don't think Cringe Crew are done. They went through the portals to the backside here, and in the end, getting forced out is Kero. Yammyn going to try and peel his way out of it, and Raffer forcing his horse, stuns in place to get away, but Freya's not done.
Adapting on the backside, picks up one, and Steel dealing with another. Raffer going to dodge out. Raffer going to get taken down by Repikas, and Adapting going to be running away as well on the backside. Here comes Shaggy. Couple of basics. Gets stunned out, but immediately he's able to hit that Sanctuary. Lift will set up for the team, and Cringe Crew on the retreat.
And it looks like NRG want to keep taking this fight. They're pressuring on with emilitoo pushing through as well. Dimi focusing onto Shaggyshenk and adapting with the wall down from the teleport. Gets Dimi the kill. Zyrhoes now being focused down by the amazing stopping power of these mages.
They're going to meet up with Cringe Crew, and a good knockup from emilZy. He's going to protect two of his teammates, but can't say the same about the Tier 1 tower. This play absolutely has to happen. NRG watch Cringe Crew steal the gold Curie, and if they don't respond with this much fervor, they just let it go. You've got to find the team fight and take away the tower. Now, still down 2K, but NRG make the right play after Cringe Crew and Kero find the steal.
I mean, they find the steal, but at the same time, Cringe Crew could have just dipped after that if they wanted to. They would have got the gold lead and got out. They chose to take a fight, and that fight went very back and forth. In the end, it goes the way of NRG, which kind of answers back a little bit to that Gold Fury. If you go to the graphs here, I want to show you the difference between this. Look at how much the Gold Fury gave with that big dip on the gold income there. But look at the climb back up after that from NRG because of the engagement after the Gold Fury.
Exactly. That fight had to happen, and it didn't look, and that's the point that I'm trying to drive home, Hindu, is that didn't look like a great fight for NRG. Repikas had fantastic positioning. Adapting was by himself, fighting I'll say a 1-on-2, but really one player was almost dead. The team was split up is my point. That wasn't a good fight for NRG, but it was a absolutely necessary fight. NRG knows if they lose that fight or don't make that fight at all, it's the same result. So just throw caution to the wind and go right into the bull.
But now NRG, with that little fight going in their favor, they're pushing mid lane here for a tier 1 tower as well. They should get this for relatively free. Dimi can tank this up for days.
Yeah, here's a couple of players from Cringe Crew. As soon as Shaggy shows up, that'll scare NRG just a little bit more. Zyrhoes is here as well to root a player out, but a good stun from Adapting allows a little bit of separation for our teams.
They can group up. They have Guan Yu. The sustain will come into play. No meditation on either. So on the side of NRG here, we do see one on the side of Zyrhoes, but there's still enough sustain just in conviction.
And with Sobek, Sobek has the curse, and that's pretty much all of the counter heal that you've got on the side of Cringe Crew.
For now, he's got Pestilence as well, but it's all on one individual there. iRaffer is still tanking it up, but the pluck onto emilitoo very wisely purified, but guess who's in the sky?
It's Repikas, and Adapting still on the ground with the ultimate available. emilZy pushes players off, gets Raffer as Repikas. Here's the ultimate from Kero, hits Raffer, the follow-up is good, and Repikas gets 11 for Cringe Crew. Still coming down here on the counterattack is Cringe. Up in the sky goes Adapting, and that'll spread Cringe Crew out.
But they're still looking, Adapting looking for the cleanup on emilZy. Double tap connects, but he's still too tanky for him to be able to find that kill. Cringe Crew come out with 1-0 in the exchange.
And that's the defense you gotta see. Cringe Crew just throw everything in NRG as they're stepping up. They know that Adapting's lurking in the wings, so just attack. What's the problem that Cringe Crew had there? The sustain from Guan Yu. So take out the Guan Yu.
At the same time, though, Raffer's playing a little bit far forward here. I understand why, because he wants to be the one that gets focused here. But at the same time, they keep managing to find him. And at the same time, Cringe Crew are slightly starting to find these windows where they escape these engages every single time.
So we've got another item, the Spectral Armor, coming out, and this is going to really help out what Raffer's able to do. It's going to lower his cooldowns even more so.
Mainly for the shell.
On the Guan.
Well, it's also mainly for the shell as well, just to give the effect. Reduce the cooldowns for 3 seconds is very, very useful for the team. So as time goes on, you know, he's going to have it up a little bit more often.
And it's also the CCR. Supports love CCR. Anytime you can be crowd controlled for less than it takes to die is a big play. Cringe Crew could group up over here by the right side. Harpies just provide a little bit of poke.
A little bit crazy there, that one, because obviously Cringe Crew, they saw Dimi go in, Dimi committed, and then round the back comes Sobek, and then it's one of those stories of like, do you really want to commit onto Dimi?
Yeah.
At the same time as Dimi, you really want to commit alone. It's one of the weird back and forth. emilZy getting forced out of the mid lane there for a second. But NRG are still controlling this game, I want to say. You can see that just by how the towers are going more than anything else.
A little bit, a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say they're controlling it, Graham, but they're certainly not out of it.
Map presence is a big important factor, right? You got 3 tier 1 towers down. Your opposition have no tier 1 towers down. You are controlling the game.
I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you. Absolutely. NRG are quietly controlling the game, I gotta say, because Cringe Crew, they're taking it in almost every single fight. They're not deterred. They're on the aggressive. They're on the offensive most of the time. But like you pointed out, there's only 3 towers with Cringe Crew logos on them. Meanwhile, not a single structure taken down for NRG.
But now we get to the stage of the game, 33 minutes in, respawn timers are starting to climb. Everybody level 20, make sure it also increases your respawn timer as well. So the longer this goes, the longer the respawns will be. And the mages is the issue here. There is no hunters in this game, boys and girls. There will be soul reavers for days, and if 2 mages hit the same target with a soul reaver, well, you might as well just sit in the shop or go out and get yourself a cup of tea because you've got that long in the base.
Absolutely. Just a ton of bursts coming out from both these squads, and Cringe Crew trying to wrap around and get dominance over the right side of the map, looking towards the fire giant. emilZy caught out just a little bit, but Shaggy's able to save him by lifting up iRaffer.
Left-hand side, though, a bit of pressure on to Zyrhoes here. Stacking up the front line very, very well. And what it actually seems to me is NRG are the ones that are trying to force something with iRaffer being so far forward, like, go for me, go for me, go for me. And then when they do, well, Cringe Crew start to come out on top.
emilZy gets walled off from his team, but NRG doesn't want to go too hard into the support.
They're just trying to pressure down hard in the mid lane here. They're not exploiting any other option here, so Cringe Crew happy to defend as a 5-man unit. They still have Janus on the way back here.
Yeah, Kero looking to line up that hot ultimate, throws it on through, not going to find anyone, but will provide him a safety into the fight. There's Repikas on the right-hand side.
Great work, and he forces a rewind out of emilitoo, which brings him back to his team, though. But that being down means the chunks of damage will go through. Dimi goes in deep with Adapting, following in, and there's iRaffer as well.
And NRG going to surge forward now. iRaffer gets walled off by his own jungler, but still finds a stun onto emilZy, while emilitoo's taken down by Zyrhoes. Cringe Crew now looking for the counterattack. 4 players alive for NRG. Cringe Crew makes that 3 off of the back of Shaggyshenk. Still giving chase. iRaffer lifted, iRaffer's up, and iRaffer's down.
And Repikas stepping up to the plate. They're dealing with 2, staying alive, keeping him busy, while the rest of his crew annihilate the front line of NRG that dived in deep. This is the fire giant for Cringe Crew now.
Sometimes iRaffer's cold, sometimes iRaffer's hot,
Yammyn?
and sometimes iRaffer is just absolutely out of control. And Repikas, excuse me, and Repi right now is just tearing up the competition.
Dimi in a dream is getting CC to high heaven, but they're getting very low there as well. Other boys of Cringe Crew, they do get the fire giant. Now they look for Dimi as well, but Repi goes to the sky. Now that ultimate's down, Dimi's in a lot more trouble.
He's gone. That's how much trouble he's in.
Respawn.
Cringe Crew at 15 on the board.
Look at his respawn. 60 seconds on the side of Dimi. This is a huge power play still for Cringe Crew to go for. Instead, I think this is kind of wise, though. Go back to base, heal up, strip some jungle on the way, and then look for the towers, because you've got a big opportunity now.
Absolutely. First real lead of the game, first real large lead of the game. As we take a look at the graphs, you can see Cringe Crew sort of flirted with this lead, but like we said, NRG sort of let these leads come and go because they know where they're able to make them up with these bigger team fights. This one, however, this was not planned by NRG whatsoever.
Not so ever. I mean, it's a very weird fight overall. Tier 2 tower being sieged down, NRG dive in very deep to the back line. emilitoo gets isolated, which isn't something that generally happens. Normally, these 1v1 fights are normally orchestrated by NRG's choosing of wanting to take a 1v1 fight. This time around, though, Repi takes emilitoo out completely, forces the rewind early on. Then he switches out with Zyrhoes, who goes in on emilitoo as well. Zyrhoes finds a kill on emilitoo. Everybody tries to help out there. Meanwhile, their front line is still busy fighting the back.
And that's what Cringe Crew have been doing for the majority of this game. They've been looking at emilitoo. They've been pushing out this Chronos. We saw it in almost every single team fight.
We say pushing him out. He's 3-1-6. He's only died once, but forcing the rewinds has been key to make sure the boys of NRG fall back and hit for the sustain. The front line is what's been dying the most. iRaffer's been focused a hell of a lot in this game because he's the one that has to be the initial engage. Normally his kills are a little bit lower, so he's definitely a little bit lower because the rest of his team collapsing a little bit better than what they have done so far.
I mean, iRaffer is 8 out of the 15. That's more than half of the deaths on NRG. So, I mean, certainly iRaffer has been the focal point, the dual lane in general. iRaffer is a focal point because of the sustain. And then Chronos, well, they chase emilitoo out. Whether he dies or not, he just not in the fight enough. And Cringe Crew, that's been their focus the entire time.
Well, let's see what Yammyn can do. He's started back adapting, going to the sky, though, from the Harpies on the left. On to 3, coming in, but the purification off. emilZy going to put Rafa into danger once more.
And here comes Repi with the counter engage. Yammyn trying to do what he can on the backside, but NRG don't want to fight this one. Down comes Repikas, and here comes a shot out of Kero, hitting 2, and emilZy still in the middle. Dimi in trouble, but finds an exit.
But a hold from both teams. The pull through the wall gives an option for Cringe Crew to go through. Immediately, NRG all regroup and go back. They know they lost Rafa, and a very experienced NRG will give up that tower.
Just that portal alone. Nobody has to walk through it, but as soon as the option for the flank is there, NRG say, okay, not worth it. Take the tier 2 tower, 1,500 gold is yours.
Credit to Cringe Crew, though, because they saw Yammyn hit that ultimate, and the moment they did, they all got out of range of it. They made sure Yammyn's ultimate was not used, and because of that, they get the tower and can look for the second one now because of it.
Good wall coming out of adapting to send Cringe Crew the other direction, but they'll just regroup. Doesn't Cringe Crew have the Fire Giant, so a little bit of sustain in their direction.
Yeah, Fire Giant for a few more seconds as well. They've got a bit of time to really siege this up and look for a tier 2 tower. I wouldn't mind maybe looking for the tier 1 on the right inside and the tier 2 there, just chip away a little bit more. But with this being so low in the mid lane, it's wise just to pick it up. I don't think they can get another Phoenix, though.
Yeah, NRG not going to go ahead and defend there whatsoever. So Cringe Crew again just inching forward. So lead now 8K.
NRG very good at working out a game and looking at it like, okay, what do we need to do to turn this around when we're behind? They're very well known for it. They've been in these positions before.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes what comes out of them is split push. But what NRG have been doing so far is committing to a fight still, feeling that they can still win these engagements. The engagements have not been going as well as they want, though. But maybe we see a different style come out from him once more here. Will the split push become an available thing? They do have a Thor with teleport.
There's not much to split push left. The 3 towers are still there. Raffer gets tossed. Raffer gets knocked up, slowed, stunned, everything tossed the support's way. But Raffer's able to find a way out thanks to the ultimate, but he gets shot by Kero.
Kero finds the shot, and now the run away from NRG begins. But the chase in from the boys of Cringe Crew is good. Fantastic ult in from Repikas. Now he's dipping out. His Dimi's going to try and turn it around on him. He will go down, but Dimi's going to fall because of it as well.
Yeah, he gets collapsed on. The Mantle of Discord helps out for the moment, but the banish setup, Dimi's done and he knows it. Put a fork in him, folks. Number 18 for Cringe Crew. Shaggyshenk owns 3 of them, but Repikas owns 7.
But look at the respawns as well that are coming out. Look how long the respawns are. Still 60 seconds on Dimi. I'm surprised they didn't go for a tier 2.
Yeah,
there.
me
That's
too.
an interesting call. They could have got tier 2 base, still done Fire Giant, and still only been against 3 members of NRG there. But pretty surprised.
Either way, 2 players, Zyrhoes and emilitoo, finish off Mantle of Discords. Those are very important items that'll keep the team fight, especially when you consider melee, right? A lot of melee on the side of NRG.
Well, emilitoo going to head back to base here just as the Fire Giant spawns too, which kind of tells me that they know they can't really contest this Fire Giant whatsoever this time round. Adapting's the only one that could potentially come over with his ultimate and look for a steal, but it's not an easy ask to do.
Absolutely not. Adapting is local. Zyrhoes going to find that out as he drops the ward down.
And he knows they're doing Fire Giant right now. He knows he can't get in range, and Zyrhoes knows exactly the range Thor needs to be at to get to that. So he pushes him that far back to make sure he'd have to use more than just one ability to get there.
40 minutes on the clock here, folks. Cringe Crew
this is a different Cringe Crew right now.
In the lead. Yeah, almost 10,000 gold, Hindu. They are looking like a very different team. Night and day from yesterday, and like I said, 1 player makes the difference.
It's true. I'm just still worried. It's still against NRG, though. And
of course.
NRG still has 3 Phoenixes, so however big the lead is, you can't count them out. We've seen them do it before, and they are a world-class team. But for Cringe Crew, though, they lost against Fantastic 2-0. Yes, they had a substitute. They only split with Sanguine, and then Hungry for More, they lost 2-0. But against the world champions here, they put on a show this game.
This is what Cringe Crew does. They did this last split as well over the springtime. Cringe Crew are able to play up to the fiercest of opponents. NRG going to watch tier 2 fall down. No sense in fighting over that one.
No, not against a full Fire Giant team as well, and full build team as well. Keep it on the Soul Reavers. We've only got 1 on the side of Cringe Crew, and it's on Janus. However, the left-hand one for Yammyn is not online yet, so that's a bit of a power spike, and Kero keeps finding these snipes. It's going to say goodnight to somebody.
Cringe Crew trying to see which side they want to attack. Is it the right or the mid? They're trying to keep NRG guessing, trying to find a little bit of a surprise.
It's more just trying to split the troops. Split the troops, and NRG don't have a full-on 5v5 fight. They've done the 5v5 fights very well so far, Cringe Crew, but take as few as you have to, you know? You don't want to do it too many times if you can help it.
And here's the initiation on the right-hand side, dashing forward. Sobek misses, stunned out, and double tap. emilZy in a lot of trouble, adapting, trying to find damage on top of Yammyn's, and not going to combine enough for emilZy. Kero again finds a snipe, but Dimi's still alive.
Dimi's alive, and we also saw Repikas not looking for him, but looking at other targets, adapting back in it, looking at emilZy, but adapting can't find the kill. Meanwhile, on the back, Shaggyshenk is going to force out more members of the team.
emilitoo flank, gets hit by Unstable. Now he's the target. The rewind's going to put him right where he stands, but now with a full HP bar, able to come right on back, but again, the bite out of the HP bar.
Adapting though does take out emilZy, but still 4 members of Cringe Crew very high. Yammyn crashes in there, trying to slow them down a little bit, but forced to purify away again.
Instant purification away from that banish.
However, they hold the Phoenix. Cringe Crew are being very respectful to NRG here by not diving and focusing the Phoenix, but there we go.
Jumping in, 3 players just pushed out. Dimi in trouble, and Dimi is down. Shaggyshenk finds another one. Right side Phoenix still standing for the moment. 2 shots do it, but Yammyn's the target, and Yammyn's down. Double kill for the Valkyrie.
And now they can go to mid lane too. They've only got 2 members to deal with. It's Adapts and emilitoo, neither of them with an ultimate either here. The real issue, and this is one of the reasons Cringe Crew play this very patiently overall, is its magical damage dealers.
Dimi's out for a minute. Yammyn's out for a minute. Raffer's about to spawn. This left Phoenix is as good as gone. Nobody from NRG can respond. Cringe Crew, they're not going to make the push into the Titan just yet, but this Phoenix is free, and Cringe Crew are singing as they walk back.
Well, NRG fought Paradigm earlier on this split, and in that game, Paradigm held after having 3 Phoenixes down. They've seen it done against them. Can they do it themselves here?
Well, that's what you were saying. When I was recapping the game before, I said 10,000 gold in the lead, Cringe Crew certainly bringing it, blah, 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 blah. And your response was, well, it's NRG. They have their 3 Phoenixes up. I don't know. Now they don't.
No, now they don't. But now, like I said, like they play against Paradigm, and Paradigm, they held against Panthera in this situation, now known as NRG. That Golf Fury reset was very awkward.
I just didn't want to deal with it.
Do we not need gold anymore, boys? That was really weird.
I mean, Shaggyshenk hits 5K.
They're trying to get actual damage done in the game or something to objectives. I don't know. Damage mitigated, maybe. I don't know. I got a clue why they just reset that Golf Fury. That makes no sense whatsoever. Maybe it was a call from somebody saying, why are you doing Golf Fury at 44 minutes in the game when we've got 3 Phoenixes down?
Like, we're sitting here laughing about it, but that's the call.
Yeah, I think
Shaggyshenk has $5,000 in his hand.
Yep.
He's ready to buy a Ferrari. He doesn't need a Gold Fury.
A Ferrari?
Yeah.
I mean, his build's been very interesting, but he's worked out from now that he's got Ratatoskr and Bancroft to round it out. Still top player damage, though. Overall, Yammyn right behind him, as is emilitoo here. But the issue right now is, how do NRG really defend this? They're pushing out all the lanes, as you'd expect them to do. But at the same time, they've got to deal with the whole squad of Cringe Crew, who are probably just going to wait for the fire jam.
Exactly. Cringe Crew just waiting it out. 30 seconds left.
And their whole objective is get Fire Giant, all the Phoenixes will respawn, they take the Phoenixes down one more time, and then end because they've got fire minions in every single lane coming down. It doesn't matter how many members of NRG are there, it's going to be too difficult against 3 sets of fire minion waves coming through and a Fire Giant 5-man composition. Yeah,
NRG, they just have to play defense. There's nothing that anybody can really do about that.
Squeaky bum time, though, for Cringe Crew.
Yeah, for sure. Just coming
for
down
Cringe
to the wire.
Crew, the reason it's for Cringe Crew this time round is because you have the nosebleed, right? You're about to beat the world champions again. And you're like, you're very excited, right?
Made me check.
Well, you actually thought you had nosebleed. No, I'm saying you're in that nosebleed scenario now where you might I'm winning, and you start bleeding because you're over hyperventilate about beating the world champions. Yeah. So this time around, they're going to be very careful about not making a silly mistake because you think you're going to win.
Absolutely, got to keep the concentration.
However, they should
going.
win, but still.
Yeah, I mean, Cringe Crew, they've got 21 kills over NRG's 14. I mean, Cringe Crew. Even taking away the last blue buff.
The biggest thing as well is that there's 3 tier 2 towers still remaining for Cringe Crew as well, which shows that NRG can't even look for a backdoor very quickly. Yeah. However, they could still end at any given moment. If Cringe Crew get wiped to this team fight, NRG could end just as quickly as Cringe Crew could as well. 60-second response, way too long, massive amounts of power with everybody 6 items in.
Everything on the board, Cringe Crew, Fire Giant, full build, ready to come on down, 46 on the clock. And Cringe Crew spread out just a little bit. 2 on the right, 3 in the mid.
Yammyn's behind him, though, on the left-hand side there. Do you see that in the jungle there? He's trying to hide out of position.
Looking for the flank.
Somebody in an awkward spot. They've got something down there, but Raf, you can see the aggression already on to Dimi. And the drums through the wall. They were looking for the pick on Shaggy.
And the play was too much to the right, not going to come together for NRG. Instead, Repikas getting aggressive, finds the knockup onto the emilitoo, and there's the dash forward as well. Sanctuary saves for the moment, and the stun from iRaffer creates some separation, but Thor's in the sky, adapting, looking for a target to protect. He lands on 2, but it's just not enough.
The world champions are going to fall down here to Cringe Crew. Cringe Crew, only 1 point so far this split. Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to double it here by the looks of it against the boys of NRG.
Titan's still alive for the moment. NRG playing good defense. Cringe Crew able to take out players and take out the Titan.
Rip
there
FP.
It goes.
Rip FP.
Ouch.
Rip FP.
Absolutely.
If you actually did have that voted as, you know, that game going that way, please tweet at me and prove it. I do not believe that. That's a crazy game.
Hinderman's going to give do you have gem codes? Hinderman's going to give a code out if you're right.
Codes out? No. No.
Either way, Cringe Crew wind up on top. Well played, just well executed the entire time from front to back.
40-minute plus game as well, so it shows that they took them a long time to really bring down NRG, which shows NRG's ability in those games. But at the same time, all credit to Cringe Crew. And the stats, well, they speak for themselves.
Exactly. I love the damage between Shaggy and emilitoo being so even, but Shaggy's damage just wound up being more impactful in the team fights.
Well, the jungles is a big one. Repikas had a fantastic game one there. He did how much more? It looks like over 7,000 more at first little look there. Small numbers.
Yeah, very. On the other hand, though, again, bringing out the map efficiency and the combat efficiency. These are in-house stats as we combine a lot of what these teams wind up doing. Let's just break it down real quick. The average for the past 2 weeks as far as map efficiency is 65. Cringe Crew landed a 121 in this matchup.
How that's added up as well is things like doing back harpies, doing fire giants, doing gold furies. They're all worth different amounts of points that come to that total. You can see them all on your screen there. Obviously, one thing is definitely worth more than another when you add up these values, like countering a ward versus, I don't know, a minion assist, something like that. But they all do add up to give that point value. And it actually shows that that lead of golden experience that we saw early on from Cringe Crew came through in that map efficiency towards the end of the game.
And like I said, the average 65, Cringe Crew just went about and almost doubled it. And this is how they did so. Map control at 5 minutes, fire imps, all Cringe Crews, and that's how they got that small lead, like you said.
It was the first one, but then the second set as well, and it continues on with this one. Just a better job of farming as a whole as a team. Gold Fury, though, in the way of energy at that left minute, at that time at the 15-minute mark, did answer back to the gold issue, but not the experience.
Yeah, you see the fire imps and the duo bores. Even 20 minutes in, Cringe Crew still able to sneak away a little bit, and everything's sort of neck and neck because of those gold furies and the towers that NRG were able to take throughout the mid game.
I mean, mainly through the mid game is the mid harpy control is the most interesting one, that they kept a good lead at 70% on that. Gold Fury is evened out. Fire Giants obviously went the way of Cringe Crew as we carried on into that game, just because of how the fights entailed between the two.
That's the swing, though. There's the first fire giant of the game, and just watch as the numbers continue to push. That's the big pressure on the right side of the map, where all the towers and the phoenixes get swept up, and then all of a sudden, you got Cringe Crew sitting pretty. 60% of the map control going to CC.
At the end, it was 60%. Most of that game was still 50-50, just on those charts for the most part between the two. But a very good job for Cringe Crew game. That's only game one, though.
Yeah, just game one. And, you know, when we look at that game, a lot of it, the game pretty much rode to the back. I think Repikas did a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the, more of the team focusing on the individual plays. But sometimes it's not what wins the game that makes it to the highlight reels. Kero with these long-range shots all game.
The snipes, man. I mean, he does get some very good snipes off here. Supportive ultimates as well as aggressive ones, just like this. Where he stole the Gold Fury with that one. And actually, we give that to Kero, but I give that to EmilZy.
Sure.
Because EmilZy was the one on the front line giving him the vision to see that and clearly see exactly where he had to aim it. All he had to do was press ult, and he got it. That's all he had to do.
Yeah, I mean, he did it, man.
EmilZy.
Don't take it away from Kero.
No, he dies now for it. Yeah, die, Kero. Yeah. See, we're not going to give it Kero. We're going to give it EmilZy for that one. My call.
You gotta give it to Kero.
No, you give it to EmilZy. Team play.
You're so vindictive.
It's not vindictive. Like, I don't like seeing people get credit for stuff where it's like, you pressed ult. I never could have pressed ult.
He had to aim, ready, aim, fire, shoot it out there.
EmilZy had to walk out there on his own against the whole army of energy and go, can you see now? Can you see now? And that's what happened.
Kero did it.